To be honest, knotless braids can be done however way, as long as the braid itself is consistent from beginning to end. So sometimes you'll see me add more than 3 pieces if I'm extending a knotless braid. So if I'm doing longer braids, I will start off adding smaller pieces so that way my braid does not get chunky too fast. And then I normally stop once I get to the middle of the braid, and I'll start adding again just before the client's hair actually ends, because the client's hair also adds in the sizing of the braid. So if you're doing a medium or if you're doing small, large not so much, because large you use more hair anyway, but whenever you're doing mediums or smalls, you really have to pay attention to that middle part of the hair, especially if you are working on a client whose hair is super thick and it's not like blown out or stretched completely. You kind of have to size that by when you're braiding how much hair to add, and you'll know because it'll start to get too thick towards the middle. You're normally supposed to add enough hair. If you do have a client that has super duper thick hair, you add enough hair at the beginning. So if you are doing 3 strands, make sure there are 3 bigger strands. It has to be bigger than the client's hair. So that way, as you're braiding down, you're able to tuck the client's natural hair behind the braiding hair. So my technique varies from client to client. Again, based on their hair density, whether it's thick or thin, based on how long my braid is and the size of the braid that they're coming in for. But the whole goal is to make sure that your braid, the size of it is consistent. So that way you don't start off with a super thin root or base, then you got like a fat braid in the middle, and then the ends are super duper tiny. So you really got to gauge that as you're braiding and making sure you're adding. And whenever you are adding in hair, you need to be adding less hair, so like tinier pieces, because again, you are building this braid out. So if you're adding too many thick pieces, then you have an uneven braid.